if you just observe the floor, this is completely a jointless floor, and the look is so shiny. So these are the floors, industrial floors we do. Being a construction chemical manufacturing company, we do this kind of flooring. This is completely a jointless floor. Joint means what? Normally the floors which have joints, like the tiled floors. So in tiles there will be n numbers of joints. In marble floor there will be joints, right? In PVC mat floor there will be joints. So if there will be joints, then there will be the dust accumulation, and through that portion, the bacterial fungus growth will be possible, and as a result the floor will be a very this kind of floor will be will give you, will not give you some hygienic properties, clean room properties. So it is not a clean room now. There will be dusts in the joints. So how to prepare a clean room floor, how to prepare a hygienic floor without the joints? That solution we will be discussing through the slides today. This is the look of the floor. You can see the floor, the look of the floor. This is called the floor, and this is a car park. In many a times in today's world, there will be posh high rises. There will be 5-star hotels. So in that hotels and high rises, there will be car parks, and many a times we talk about multi-level car parking. So in that car parks, have you gone to Quest Mall? In Quest Mall, we had done this kind of floor long back. So this kind of floor means, this will give you some very good look, and this will enhance the aesthetic appeal of the floor. And as a result, people will spend money. So the authority, the owner of the mall or owner of the hotel, they will get money, they will earn money. Okay. So this is a value for money proposition. So it will look good, and as a result it will protect the structure. It will by applying this, we can enhance the durability of the structure also. If this is a shabby car parking, there will be spalling, there will be cracks everywhere, so we won't spend money for that. So that is why, nowadays every shopping malls, which the 5-star hotels, these are coming with the car deck system. Here also, we have scopes for flooring apart from the industries. So this is the look of the floor, and the polymers which are associated, the chemicals which are associated with this kind of flooring is epoxies, polyurethane, acrylates. These are the main polymers. Okay. And we can create those anti-static properties. Sometimes, in operation theaters, when the doctors operate, they get shock. So they cannot do the operation well. So in order to do it anti-static, that means the floor will be dissipating the static electricity. So the floor we can design such a way it can dissipate the current to the earthing point, so that nobody gets shock. So that is called anti-static flooring. Anti-skid, of course, when we are talking about beverage industries, bottling industries, there will be water splashing everywhere. So if there will be water, people may slip. So in order to give the floor slip resistance property, it can be done in anti-skid, so that nobody can slip. Nobody sleep over that. And antifungal, of course, if we do a clean room, if we prepare a clean room environment, if we make a clean room environment, then it would be obviously anti-germ, antifungal, antibacterial too. So this is the beauty of the flooring. This is the these are the applications of the flooring in industries and building projects, shopping malls, everywhere. So these are the application of the flooring. Now, of course, we have conditions, different conditions the floor is subjected to. Suppose in a steel plant, the situation would be different. Suppose it is in an automobile industry, the situation will be completely different. So in steel plant or power plant, there will be dynamic movement, dynamic and static cycle. So in a power plant, suppose in the buildings, there will be vibrations always. There will be machine installations, heavy machines. So there will be vibrations always. So it would be always a cycle of static and dynamic load. So to take care of that load, my flooring should take care of that static and dynamic cycle. So we will design, we will create the floor such a way so that it can take care of those static and dynamic cycles. So we see those kind of applications in specifically in steel plants, power plants, where this kind of variation of loads will be there. Okay, so there will be pressure, impact, grinding, everything. There will, I mean, in that industries, these are the features. So we have to design our flooring in such a way so that it can take care of that static and dynamic load movements. Chemical industries. This is another, I mean, good topic to discuss with. This is chemical industry. Chemical industry. I mean, in chemical industries, people handle hazardous chemicals, like battery rooms. In battery rooms, in TG buildings, there will be chemicals always. Suppose a fertilizer plant, there will be chemicals always. So these are the chemicals. The paper industries. Paper industries would be a very good example of this. So they handle those hazardous chemicals. So many a times we see chemicals, chemical spillages are very common in that on the floor. So how to create the barrier so that chemicals do not percolate through the main surface. Actually, we are creating some barriers. So we are creating some protection of the substrate, main substrate, so that these chemicals cannot percolate to my main slab, main substrate, so that it should not disturb the floor. So as a result, over time, my floor will not be, will not be corroded, will not be, there will be no spalling, no corrosion. So we have to protect we have to protect the floor. So how to do it? This is also flooring. Flooring coming into the picture. The flooring should be chemical resistant here. So it should be alkali resistant, it should be acid resistant, solvent resistant, etc., etc. So we have to create those design, to make it chemical resistant. And thermal, of course, in steel plants, near the boilers, there will be heat. So how to design the floor so that it can take care of that heat. So now in today's world, the polymers, like the maximum temperature polyurethane can take care of 120 degrees centigrade. So beyond that, the polymers like epoxies, polyurethanes, or acrylates cannot take care of those kind of heats. So in order to insulate this floor with this heat, the damp heat or dry heat, you need to do some cementitious variety of floor that I will discuss in my slides. Cementitious flooring. So I'm not adding any polymer into it, but I have cementitious floors also. So I will be discussing this now. Now these are the things, these are the industrial flows, and these are the types of variables like chemicals, thermal, mechanical, which are the which are the factors which can influence my flooring. So I have already discussed. These are few plants, few industries where we can see this type of variables, like DM water plant, demineralized water plant, where we deal with chemicals. Steel plant, I have already discussed. The thermal and mechanical shocks would be there. Machine repair workshop, of course there will be mechanical movement would be predominant. And textile industries, of course, I mean, partly chemical, partly thermal, and partly mechanical. So this type of industries, we have to understand first the need of the floor, where we are applying this flooring. This is very, very important. We have to understand what would be the industries, and according to that industries we have to create the design of the floor. That's it. Now, of course, nowadays, we often I have already told you types of floorings, like cementitious, epoxies, polyurethane, acrylics. These are the main variant which will play a very important role in flooring industries, today's flooring industries. Now we have to judge where and what and how. After all, I mean, last it would be how. So these are the things we have to judge, and we have to understand the need, and according to that we have to create the design. Now this kind of, I mean, if we lay this kind of flows, if we apply this kind of flows, what would be the main features of this? Now, the prerequisite of any kind of floor, the substrate must be very sound. I'm installing something on a substrate, and which is the mother slab, and this mother slab has to have some properties, so that at least I can install these things over that. I cannot install my flooring over a weak substrate or over a cracked the substrate which has potholes. I cannot apply those things directly. I need to repair first, or otherwise, if it is a new floor, then the compressive strength of the floor should be at least 25 MPa. At least it should be M25 grade of concrete, at least. So this is the prerequisite of installation of the floor. And if it is a Trimix floor or VDF floor, nowadays we create those kind of floor. This is VDF, vacuum dewatered concrete, VDC, or vacuum dewatered flooring, VDF. So this is a system. This is a machine. We need to install machines. Our applicators, contractors are expert in that. They can create this kind of floor, so that the extra water they suck, the machine can suck, and as a result, the system, the flooring, the mother slab would be very dense with minimum pores, etc., etc. This is the ideal condition where we can install our flooring. So it would be we will prefer if the concrete floor would be VDF, otherwise it has to be at least M25. So these are the prerequisites. Now, the systems are many. We have many choices now. We can apply, the cementitious thing, we can apply acrylates, we can apply epoxies, we can apply polyurethane, depending on the need of the end users. Okay. So for tough floor, for tough and economical at the same time, suppose I am not applying any polymers. The polymers will come with a cost. First of all, we need to understand. The polymers like epoxies, like the acrylates, polyurethane, this will come with a cost. But whenever I will apply some cementitious thing, I will talk about some cementitious flooring. then it would be cheaper. It would be the cheapest proposition. And this kind of cementitious flooring, what it is actually precisely, very precisely, these are the floor hardness. What are the floor hardness? These are actually quartz based non-metallic floor hardness or metallic floor hardness. I will discuss in my slides today. These are the cementitious variety of the floor hardness, which can be sprinkled on the floor so that as a result the floor will be hard. And this kind of flooring you will see in heavy engineering workshops, in steel plants where there will be boilers, there will be heat. There is no option but to go with this. So these are the floor hardness. We call it floor hardness. These are non-metallic or metallic. It would be sprinkled on the floor when the floor is green. When the concrete is green, we have cast the floor, the concrete is green, we need to sprinkle those hardness over the floor, and after that we need to finish the floor with some tremix, with some with some machines. So there are machines for that. So we have to finish the floor so that the hardener will be an integral part of the floor. So this is the chemistry, this is the procedure. And epoxy flooring, epoxies are the most important and most common in flooring. Epoxy flooring, I mean, this is a very common term in flooring industry. Epoxies are self-leveling floors, and the top will come with colors. So the customer, the end user will select some colors, and according to that we need to design our floor. It can be 2 mm, it can be 4 mm, it can be 3 mm, whatever the floor, the thickness of the floor. It will be a colored glossy floor with no joints. This is epoxy flooring. And acrylates. Acrylates are used in many a times in roads, in road projects, like nowadays in smart city projects. This, we need to mark the bus track, we need to mark the cycle track. So these are the, here acrylates play a very vital role. These are the acrylic coatings, so this can be done. And polyurethane floors, where polyurethane is the third generation one, and polyurethane flooring is the future. Actually, future of flooring industry is polyurethane. This is the best one. Suppose if we think about a pyramidal structure of flooring, then polyurethane would be at the top. So this is the base proposition for any kind of flooring. Polyurethane you can apply when suppose there will be steam cleaning in some food processing industries. In food processing industries there can be steam cleaning. So for the steam cleaning the temperature would be 100 degrees centigrade at least. So there no flooring can sustain, only the polyurethane floor. Cementitious would be a proposition, but these are, I'm talking about ITC, I'm talking about Hindustan Unilever, they are the big shots. So they will not apply this cheaper variety on the floor. And at the same time, on that floor, there will be joints. In cementitious flooring, there will be joints. We cannot come out the joints. We need to take care of the joints. But joints are the most vulnerable points in those industries I am talking about, the food processing industries. So if there will be joints, there will be dust accumulation. So we cannot expect the floor will have this kind of thing. So it would be completely a jointless proposition, but at the same time, it should endure the high temperature. So what would be our proposal? It would be polyurethane floor. So these are the things. These are the main things you need to understand. Now, cementitious substrates of any floor will have many problems. Suppose the client doesn't have budget. Suppose the client doesn't know anything about the floor. So there, our role will be to educate the client that if we keep those cementitious substrates as it is, then it will have many problems. Or if it is a cementitious floor, they want to apply some cheaper one, but there should be a dust free environment, then it would be a wrong thing. So we need to discuss pluses and minuses with our clients. Pluses would be, of course, this is not an expensive proposition. This is a very cheaper thing. Cementitious variety, cementitious flooring would be very, very cheap, and it can be used for a wide range of industrial requirements. Of course, everywhere we can apply this, because this is cheaper and this is readily available and anybody can apply this. But the joints would be too much, because minuses are also there. If it would be permeable to liquids, like in the beginning, just today in the beginning I told you that we need to create some barrier over the floor so that the chemicals, the materials we are handling, it should not percolate through the structure, the main structure. In automobile industries, in workshops, the engineers actually, they handle oils, lubricating oils, many kind of oils. Suppose I have not done anything over that and it is a cementitious substrate, then that oil will percolate through. And if, please remember this thing, this is a very vital, this is a very important point I am discussing now. If the flooring has, if it is an oil soaked floor, then nothing will bond. If it is an oil soaked floor, if suppose the client wants something over that, we have to regret, because we cannot apply anything, any kind of epoxies, polyurethane, anything over that, because it won't bond. It will create a permanent separation layer. So be very cautious, and we have a very important role to educate our persons, educate the end user, that this kind of floor, the demand of this kind of floor would be, at least you need to do something over that so that the oil won't percolate through. And of course, the mechanical resilience, it should be tough, and at the same time, the cementitious materials are not flexible. So the flexibility, the polyurethane, the cementitious polyurethane chemistry, the flexibility which it can give, nothing can give. This cementitious, so absolutely no. It cannot give any kind of flexibility. It is a rigid kind of material. Cement is always rigid, so it will not give anything. And of course, any kind of cementitious material, we know that curing time would be at least 28 days. Whereas for polyurethane, for epoxies, by 7 days, entire operation can be opened, can be started. Entire operation by 7 days. So you can imagine, how how it is. So if we can open my workshop before, then I will gain money. So time is directly proportional with money. So long curing time, nobody wants in today's world. Everything is faster. Okay, we want everything at the tip of our toe. So we don't have time. So these things are, in industries like, that the ITCs, the Hindustan Unilever. So this kind of proposition won't be, would be a pointless thing to discuss with. And poor cleanability. Of course, If there will be joints, there will be the cementitious floor. In that cementitious floor, there will be joints. So the cleanability would be very, very tough. So there will be dust. So we cannot clean every dust. We cannot clean every bacteria. So it is a very bad proposition where we are talking about hygiene. So these are the pluses, these are the minuses. Now we need to ponder over, and according to that, we need to create the design of the floor. Now here, these are the brand names of our materials. This is called Shalifloor NM and Shalifloor MBH. These are the two varieties of this cementitious floor hardener. One is non-metallic. Non-metallic means these are precisely quartz-based materials. So quartz-based materials are of course better than metallic floor hardener, where the iron dust also they use. So this kind of, but this is non-oxidizing type, so that there will be no corrosion. But still this non-metallic floor hardener is better because there is no room for corrosion. And this non-metallic means quartz, it will give the hard top floor, so it will match the requirement of the client. So there will be two varieties of cementitious floor hardener. One would be non-metallic, one would be metallic. And of course, Shalifloor SLUL1C, that is a single component cementitious underlay. Many a times we talk about the wooden floor. Today, in posh, hotels, there will be wooden floor, right? So for that wooden floor, you need to have the underlay. You need to create the underlay. It actually starts from 6 mm to it can go up to 15 mm, 20 mm sometimes. So this underlay we have to create, so that that wooden floor, it needs almost 0 level to apply these wooden blocks over that. So if we apply wood floor, then it should bond properly with the floor, so that we have it, there will be no ups and downs. Otherwise, it will come out. So this kind of precision we need to have for this kind of floor. And for that, we need to create the underlay, so that the mother slab would be with ups and downs. So we need to create the underlay with at least 6 mm or 10 mm or 12 mm or 15 mm, whatever would be the client's requirement. We need to create the underlay. So here the role of cementitious flooring will come. So this is the cementitious underlay we can create for that kind of flooring. And this is the application picture of this non-metallic floor hardener. You can just see with after the application of the floor, when the floor is green, then we need to sprinkle those quartz-based non-metallic floor hardener over that, and with a specific coverage, because the floor, this kind of floor will have 3 types of requirements. It can be light duty, it can be medium duty, it can be heavy duty. So suppose this is an industry we are talking about, so the requirement of the industries would be, the requirement of the floor will be like light duty. If the machineries would be less, and the movements of forklifts, movements of trolleys will be less, then it would be light duty. If it is medium duty, means there will be the medium movement would be there, and the heavy duty means the forklift movement, the trolley movement would be very would be huge. So the heavy duty to make it heavy duty, we need to sprinkle this kind of material. Like here it is 6.5 to 7 kg per square meter. So we need to manipulate the coverage of this kind of flooring material. So understanding, we have to understand the workshop, the need of the floor first, and according to that we need to manipulate the coverage of the material. So when the floor would be green, then we need to sprinkle those, or we need to broadcast. The industrial term is, the technical term is to broadcast the this quartz mixture over the floor, and we need to finish it with this machine. So it is the whole story about the heart of floor with non-metallic floor hardener. So this will give you heart of finish, so that the abrasion would be better, the compressive strength would be better, so strength of the floor will be enhanced. Now this is metallic floor hardener. The same thing, the same working principle will be here also, will be applicable here also. It is also a dry shake. Dry shake means what? This is a dry material which will be sprinkled. It is a dry mixture which will be sprinkled over the floor, or will be broadcast over the floor. So that is why we call them dry shake. The dry shake floor hardener, but this is metallic, non-oxidizing. I'm telling you, non-oxidizing aggregates would be there. If there will be metal dust, if there will be iron dust, it should be necessarily non-oxidizing, so that there will be no corrosion. If the metal dusts get oxidized over time, then the corrosion will happen and it will come out. So we do not want that, and that is why we formulate those things with, like with non-oxidizing variety of metal dusts. So these are the another type of floor hardener. The strength will be even more than quartz-based non-metallic floor hardener, because these are metal dust. So the strength would be very, this would be huge. And we are doing some projects in Kolkata Port Trust in container packaging yard. There the containers are big, very big containers are, they store those containers, and for in order to store those containers, the floor should be very strong. So we can create those kind of floor with this kind of metal dusts, or this kind of metallic floor hardener. And of course, I have told you that underlay, cementitious underlay, which will be used on that wooden floor or PVC mat floor. For that, we need to have a smooth underlay. We need to create smooth underlay, so that there will be no ups and downs, absolutely zero ups and downs. So these are the single component. This will be generally single component cementitious underlay, which can be done with these thicknesses. For PVC flooring, for tile flooring, for marble flooring, this kind of flooring, we may apply this kind of cementitious underlay. Now let us switch over to the resins, to the polymers. We have already told you that we generally handle three kinds of polymers for the floor. These are epoxies, acrylates, and polyurethanes. So these are the resins part. Okay, and there will be specific mixing ratio of the components of the floor. Generally, there will be 2 components, 3 component, 4 component even. So the components should be mixed properly One component will be resin, one component would be hardener, one component would be filler, and another component would be the pigment. These are the four components. Many a times we can avoid the fillers. It can be only coating. Then there will be resin and hardener, and if there will be, and the hardener will be mixed with the pigment also. It comes with the pigments also many a times, and there will be two component only. If the pigments would be separated from the this two components, then it would be three components. If there will be filler, like this underlays, this screed, the floor screed, there will be four components, even three components, even, because there will be fillers also. So this kind of floorings would be there, pigments would be always there, and of course we have transparent variety of floor also. Suppose we need to protect the epoxy flooring with some polyurethane coating. So the epoxy flooring comes with color. Now the client says, I should not disturb the color of the floor. So can you do anything? Can you have any protection over that, which will not have any color, which will not hide my color, hide the floor of the color? So we can apply this kind of transparent coating there, transparent polyurethane systems, or lacquers would be there. So this kind of things can be there, and of course the sealer type of coatings are also possible. Suppose if this in the cementitious flooring, there will be dusts always. So to seal the pores of that floor, we can have pore sealers, so that we can minimize the dust generation. The pore sealers are, with acrylic pore sealers will be possible, or epoxy pore sealers will be possible sometimes. So we can apply pore sealers, so that there will be the dust generation would be minimized. So we can block the pores with these polymers. This is also possible. And of course, resins, we have already talked about the resins. There are calculations, of course, the packaging would be there, because we have certain packaging, so we need to calculate, and accordingly we need to design, we need to create the drawing of the floor, and according to that we need to mix the material, and we need to apply those things over the floor. So these are the things. The mixing would be very, very important of the components. So if there will be a mixing problem, if we cannot mix the materials properly, then it will not cure properly, and as a result, the flooring, over the time, the floor will come out. There will be blisters. Okay, so it may break. So this is also a failure of the floor. The contractors, the applicators who are applying the flooring, they must be technically, they must be they must know about the mixing, they must know about the detailing, they must know about the small things about the flooring materials. So they need to mix the materials properly, and sorry, and of course the substrate conditions and the temperature of the environment, that is very important. The three things are most important to install the floor. When we want to install the flooring materials, we need to be very, very cautious about the three things. The three things are, that is the moisture content of the floor. First of all, the moisture content of the floor. If suppose the moisture content of the floor is beyond 4%, then if we apply any kind of flooring, this will fail, because the moisture will always come out. So if the moisture will come out, then definitely it will create pressure on the barrier, which I have created with the flooring. So there will be blisters, and finally it will break, and there will be very, bad thing over my floor. So you do not want that. So moisture content is very important. How to take care of this moisture I will discuss, and how to measure the moisture content is very important. I will talk about that. And relative humidity, before going to do any kind of floor, we need to we need to taste the relative humidity. We have, nowadays we have mobile smartphones everywhere. These readings are, uh, we get the readings very easily from the devices we have today. So these are available with us. So the relative humidity is very important. It should be necessarily less than 85%. If it is more, then of course there will be many problems, because there will be moistures in the environment, and it will ultimately, if it condensates over the floor, then it will create pots, it will create pinholes, bug holes. So, and many a times we have seen that the sheen of the floor, it will also, it will also create dullness over the floor, so the gloss will disappear. So this can be, very, this relative humidity will be a very important parameter. And of course it has to be, the temperature has to be just above 3 degrees centigrade, above dew point. So dew point we need to check, and the temperature should be above dew point. And I have told you the condensate will be the problem. So it should be that the entire area should be airy. It should be well ventilated, so that there will be no condensate, there will be no dews, and the the wind will be, the entire area will be, with air, ventilated air, so that these things will not be accumulated. So these are the main things. Of course, these we have created this for you, because these are the few guidelines you must adhere to. This is FE RFA guidelines. This is actually some European guidelines for flow. So these are also available. We have codes also for flow, so we need to abide by those guidelines. And we need to create our design according to that guidelines. So these are the things. So this you will get from the websites, from any kind of books, or I mean, nowadays it is available from websites also, so you can get it. So we also follow this kind of guidelines. And now these are the industries we can cater, like food industries, beverage industries, hotels, universities. In universities, in schools, there will be laboratories. In laboratories, in chemical laboratories, we can create the floor with, this can be completely jointless flooring, a clean room floor we can give. In hospitals, of course, I have already discussed. Chemical plants, pharmaceutical industries, there will be zero dust almost, because they are preparing medicines. So so they have guidelines for this. And this pharmaceutical industries, in these pharmaceutical industries, it is mandatory to have floorings, this kind of jointless floorings. Paper industries, wastewater industries, of course, they are associated with, they deal with chemicals, so they need to have this kind of flooring. These are the application areas of the industries. Like the production area, the can be, sometimes they deal with heat, or sometimes it can be wet, there will be water. Packing areas, chemical storage units. Here, in any industries, there will be these areas where we can apply this kind of floorings. And of course, we can segregate, we can we can categorize the manufacturing unit into three kind of manufacturing units. One is light manufacturing, like the industries where the impact, the abrasion would be less. The that the forklift movement, the machineries would be that the weight would be less. So these are light manufacturing industries. So there, the thin coatings are possible, the thin epoxy coatings or something self-leveling epoxy coatings are possible. If it is heavy manufacturing industries, then the situation would be completely different. So we need to understand first what would be the load, what would be the dynamic load movement, static load. So we need to assess those things, those parameters, and according to that we have to prepare the flooring specification. So for that, probably if it is a very very heavy manufacturing unit, then we have to have thicker materials with polyurethane 6 mm, 8 mm, 10 mm, or sometimes with some epoxy screed, and then with epoxy topping. So some underlays should be there. So there will be mix and match of the specification. So it would be like this. Warehouses, in warehouses, very heavy, there will be containers. So it will have weights. So in warehouses, many a times we talk about the hardness, because the hardness, this will give the hard top floor. So in warehouses, it would be very very it would be beneficial. And of course some thin coatings over some screeds, or some some if there will be chemical spillages, then there will be some chemical resistant coating. So there can be, we can do, I mean, there we have entire thing. So we can play with the specification, and according to the need, according to the budget of the end user, we can just manipulate the specification. So that is there. So we can have different specifications according to the different need of the end users. Food and beverage, you can see, the requirement would be different. So there would be anti-skid. Sometimes the requirement would be anti-skid, because the beverage industries, there will be a lot of water. So anti-slip, so it should be necessarily anti-slip, and for that we have polyurethane also, and the epoxy mortars also, and sometimes over the epoxy flooring we can do that textured finish also, so that it would be anti-skid. So different finishes are possible. So according to that, we have actually created these guidelines for our flooring systems. With light duty, what would be the system? For heavy duty, what would be the system? So according to that, we have framed our specification. So these are with this our product name. So uh, I'm not discussing my products with you. I'm just discussing the concept with you today. So just understand the concept. And of course, these are the different flooring solutions possible with us. One is, and the self-leveling floor. Many a times we just come across self-leveling floor. So epoxy floorings are self-leveling. The chemistry of epoxy flooring can be manipulated so that we can get some self-leveling flooring with epoxies. So it is possible. And epoxy mortars, that is required for heavy engineering units, where the mortar or screed, this will come with extra strength. It will give extra strength of your flooring. So this kind of thing can be possible. And transparent coating, many a times, suppose I have discussed with you already that if suppose the client doesn't want to disturb the existing floor, but at the same time he needs some protection, then the transparent coating we can apply. Self-leveling polyurethane topping can be possible. Polyurethanes are necessarily, many polyurethane chemistries actually, they are they are UV stable, but epoxies are not UV stable. So please understand, epoxies are not UV stable. So for outdoor applications or the applications under UV, not possible with epoxies. If suppose you have applied something with epoxy, then you need to have a polyurethane coating over it so that it can be protected from UV. Epoxies are not UV stable. Please remember. So here also, polyurethane coating can be possible over epoxies, or polyurethane coating sometimes we can apply. Polyurethanes are necessarily, the UV stable. So for outdoor applications, we can apply. And epoxies, solvent free coatings are also possible. Suppose, some for some green buildings, green building coatings, they want some low VOC materials, low volatile organic compound materials. So less VOC means it would be green. Less VOC means the hazardous solvents won't be there, so it is a green product. So it is also possible with epoxies. We can make it solvent free sometimes according to the need. And of course, the underlay, epoxy underlay is also possible. And the 4-component polyurethane. This is the future. I told you about, the future uh, of the flooring industry. The flooring industry is the tendency of the flooring. Now it is becoming polyurethane flooring oriented. So PU is the future. It is flexible, and at the same time it will give you the required toughness also. So polyurethane chemistry is the future. These are few pictures with epoxies. You can see how it is. Epoxies are very, very glossy. So polyurethane will not give you that shine that epoxy has, but epoxies have some demerits. These are not UV stable. It is not meant for outdoor applications. This is for completely indoor applications. So I'm showing you few detailings. And of course, suppose if we are talking about some hygienic floor, the the junction with the junction of the vertical wall and horizontal wall, there will be also an edge. So if we do not apply anything for the edge correction, then there will be in that sharp edge there will be accumulation of the dust, and there will be the bacteria, germs also. So we should not have any sharp edges on the floor. If there will be sharp edges, there will be the generation of dusts and this type of bacterial growth. So we need to have something. We need to do coving. This is called coving. So this you can see just left hand side picture. So that is called coving. So we need to prepare the junction like this, so that there will be no sharp edges. And whenever we will talk about the floor, we should also talk about the wall, because if there will be something on the wall, then it will not be a clean room. And ceiling as well. Clean room means it is a solution. It is an entire package. It is not like only the floor will be clean. It is the wall, it is the ceiling, it is the junction. So it is a package. As a whole, it would be a package. So we should be cautious about that. Yes, for epoxy mortar applications, you can see this epoxy mortar application for the heavy engineering industry. So this can be the underlay. With this, over that there will be top coats, maybe sometimes, and sometimes if people want this kind of flooring as it is, so we can just give them this kind of floor also. This is the epoxy screed or mortar kind of thing. This is also possible. You just see the picture. This is the terrazzo floor. This is the mosaic finish, but this is not a mosaic floor. Mosaic floor will have joints, but this kind of floor will not have any joints. This is called terrazzo floor. This can be also created with epoxies. So for now, for the time being, you just remember this thing. This can be also possible. with epoxies. And for anti-static, of course, I have already discussed about the operation theaters. Doctors should not have shock. In recently we have done one project in Panagore MES. There, in MES, at Panagore, there were ammunition depots. They wanted to store that ammunitions in that floor, on that floor. So we were asked to do something where there will be no spark. Absolutely, if suppose there will be spark on the floor, so entire thing will be the fire will break then. So they didn't want to have sparks, they didn't want to have static electricity generation. So in order to do that, they wanted to have anti-static flooring. So if suppose anything goes wrong, if suppose there will be statical electricity, then it would be dissipated through the earthing. So this is the floor called anti-static flooring. So anti-static flooring we have done with epoxies in Panagore. So ultimately it was very good, and we have done it successfully. This is a PU floor. PU floor, 3 component, 4 components, both are possible. This is PU. You can see this is a picture of Bata India Limited. We have done a flooring in Bata 4 years back, so it is running successfully. This is the look of the floor, and this is a cementitious 4 component floor. The look is not so good, but it is the future. Okay, so it will give you the required toughness, at the same time it will give you the flexibility. And if suppose there will be cleaning, steam cleaning, or something of that sort, then this kind of floor will give you that property. So this is what. And yeah, of course, that acrylates, the application of those acrylates, for smart city projects on the roads. You can see the road here. So after finishing the roads, this kind of acrylic coatings can be possible, can be done over the roads, so that we can mark it with some colored variety of acrylates for bus track, for cycle track. So this is possible. These are the acrylates, which is also UV stable, so you can apply on roads. For volleyball courts, for basketball courts also, we can apply this kind of thing. So this is what, first, if we are asked to do some installation, then what we need to do, we need to take care of the moisture content, the 28 days strength, and it should be at least M25 grade of concrete. Then that checking of moisture level is most important. First we need to do this. Cleaning is very important. Of course, if suppose the floor has darts or something, so we need to clean it. We need to cut the grooves for construction joints, because if suppose we do not create the grooves, then the floor will crack. And if the floor will crack, then my epoxy flooring or polyurethane flooring will crack. So we need to cut the grooves so that there will not be any crack over the floor. So these are the things actually we practice day to day basis. So I'm just sharing our experience with you. Then grinding or scarification should be done. Then cleaning should be done. Then of course we have to mark the edges with masking tape. Then this primer is very important. I have already discussed, any things you are installing, the primer application would be very important. Primer, that it should be cured. Then the self-leveling coating or any kind of brushable coating you are applying, so you have to apply. Then it should be cured, then it should be cleaned, and we should hand over. So these are the steps we need to stick to. And moisture content, nowadays we have moisture meter, the applicators have moisture meter. Previously, when we didn't have moisture meter, we used to do it with some plastic sheet. The plastic sheets, for we needed to cut the plastic sheets, and we we need to stick those plastic sheet over the floor for at least 2 days. And then, suppose there will be moisture, the moisture will be like this. You can see the picture of this plastic sheet. If there will be moisture, you can see the moisture, the patch of the moisture. So that was a primitive this thing, that practice. But nowadays we have moisture meters. So moisture meters, we can have directly the reading from the moisture meter. So that is possible. Now this you can see this cutting of grooves. You can see the applicator is cutting the grooves over the floor. For PU flooring, this is very necessary, because PU floorings are cementitious varieties, so it should get anchored of the floor. The floor should hold it properly. So that is what they are doing this. These are some floor grinding machines. Grinding machines would be necessary for epoxy floorings mainly. For PU flooring, there will be scarifier with some vacuum attachment. You can see from the pictures. This is the scarification process they are doing for PU flooring. This is short blasting for PU flooring. Actually, sometimes we need to short blast the floor for better anchorage. So these are the machines. Now primer applications. These are the few pictures of primer applications. Now this is underlay. It can be cementitious underlay or epoxy underlay, whatever. So we need to do. And this is the topping, the top coat application. So it will come with colors, so it will enhance the aesthetic appeal of the floor also. These are the things. And for car parks, yeah, of course, for multi-level car parks, this type of car deck systems are possible. So for car deck system, there will be primer, and over the primer there will be the spring. We need to broadcast some sand, and then we need to finish with some coats. So that sand would be there inbuilt, and there will be whenever there will be, car will move on that, the car should not skid. So that way we can also do anti-skid of the car parks. These are few tools and tackles which the applicators should need. I can show you some pictures. This is a very good case study, because this actually, it came in the media also. The Rafale in Ambala Air Force. It is a picture of Rafale in Ambala Air Force. Here you can see the blue colored floor. This blue colored floor is anti-static polyurethane floor. So we have done this. So you can see our successes. And this is another operation theater. In the operation theater, whenever we took care of the floor, then we also took care of the wall, because it is a complete system, right? In operation theater, we cannot accept a single dust particle or any germ or dust generations anywhere. So that way we need to do it. This is the Bata flooring we have done with polyurethane, the pictures. This is Power Loom Industry, the picture you can see in Pune. The bay markings are also possible with epoxies or polyurethane. The bay marking is also with this. Okay, this is also the entire package. We need to do this. This is Pune. This is Infosys in Pune. So we have done the anti-static floor there. This is brakes in Chennai. So see how it is being done. This is Ordnance Factory in Trichy. You can see the look of the floor. Okay, this is the look of, this the beauty of this epoxy floor. So that gloss is the gloss is huge. So this is the floor, Paragon Polymers, where it is being done, epoxy flooring. Industrial Bale Corporation in Chennai. Thank you. I'm done with today's discussion. I hope you understood. Now
Thank
you
you,
just,
madam.
thank you so much.
Okay. So, dear participants, if you have any queries or questions, please write in the chat box one by one. Okay.
Soham has asked, it
Yes.
means that tiles or flooring would be developed in the site only, right? Yes, of course. For the tiles, suppose For the tiles, we need to provide some underlay, right? So the underlay, nowadays we have tile adhesives for that. Okay, if the underlay is if there will be ups and downs, then we need to create some underlay. That underlay we can give with this single component cementitious underlay. So we can create thicknesses from 6 mm to 20 mm. So this is a wide range of thickness we can create with this underlay. So you can apply those underlay also. And otherwise, that tile adhesives are also, is very popular. So you can apply those tiles. I was talking about the wooden floor, the wood floor. So for that wood floor, there the underlay would be necessary. So there will be no ups and
Okay.
downs. So that was our proposition.
Okay. Okay.
Any other
So,
thing?
or any other questions?
Yeah.
Okay. We will wait just 1 minute. If you have any queries, please write in the chat box.
Sir, can I ask a question? Ma'am, can I ask a question?
Yes, please. Please.
Yes.
Ma'am, if one client wants to make a playground on the roof, and which is open to atmosphere, and
Yes.
he needs a flexible soft flooring,
Yes,
and
yes.
he needs a water resistance. He don't want any leakage on his floor.
Yes, right.
What kind of flooring would be useful for that client?
Yeah. Who is asking the name, please?
Probir Kundu.
It's
Probir, the thing is that this is a very interesting thing, interesting subject also, and recently we have developed the business case with this. Suppose a rooftop car parking, or suppose a rooftop volleyball court or basketball court or something. So in abroad, this is a very common thing, but here in India, this is not very common compared to abroad. So here, whenever we will deal with this kind of thing, now we need to take care of the waterproofing first, because we are talking about roof. So over the mother slab, there will be the waterproofing first. After doing the waterproofing, we will do the ponding test, and if there will be no leakage of water inside, then we will do some screed over that with the leveling screed or something. So we will do the screeding, and over that, on top of that, we will do that acrylate flooring, because we have done this acrylates already in a school in Kolkata, where there was two courts, actually, one basketball court and one volleyball court, and this will give you the colored flooring, and it will be UV stable, and at the same time it would be, they can use it like that. So this would be the entire specification. So first the waterproofing of the roof, then ponding test, and then this flooring.
okay,
So
ma'am.
next question from Vishal Shah. What
What
kind
kind
of
of
floor
floor
will
will
be
be
best?
based for PVC industries? PVC means
Yes.
what do you mean exactly? PVC mat floor or something? Where there will be the workshop or something, there will be the machineries, then we can go with any kind of thing. Epoxies would be good enough. So there can be, if there will be movement of the machineries or forklifts, then we will design the floor with some underlay first, with some screed first, then we will do the topping. Or otherwise, if you are asking about the PVC mat floor, then it would be different. It would be with first of all, that single component cementitious leveling underlay first. That wide thickness, the wide range of thickness we will get from 6 mm to 20 mm. So we will do the underlay first, and then we will apply that PVC mats.
Okay.
So this kind of things.
Okay. Thank you, madam,
Thank
for
you so
giving
much.
us
Sir, I
such
have
an
one more question,
quest.
sir, please.
Yes,
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 please,
yes,
please,
yes.
please.
Ma'am, I had one client who wants to make a playground on top. So what I did, and he doesn't want to invest a lot of money. So what I did for him is I just put quarter stone chips flooring first, and then on top of I put a net cement, just a simple net cement. But what problem I am facing now is from the from the net cement, small holes. Okay, so water is absorbing from on top, and under the roof it's leaking. So to
Exactly, exactly,
stop
Probir.
yeah. So
Exactly,
to
because you
stop
are,
the water, so to stop the water, what kind of solution I could prefer to him?
that's what Prabir. First of all, if I would have done this, I would have done this in a different way, because you have not done anything for the waterproofing of the roof first. So first you should have done the waterproofing of the mother slab, that you neglected, and that is why you were facing problems. So whenever they wanted to have some this kind of things, first you should do the waterproofing of the roof. Because if you have not done anything, then anything now you do, it will have problems. So for then anyway, you have not done anything, so my suggestion would be that neat cement, that thing, you just remove it, and you open the mother slab first, and then you do some bonding test. Now you see if there will be some through and through cracks over the slab, then it will leak, and you can see from ceiling. So then you just grout those portions, or you do some do some repairs for that, and you be assured that there will be no leakage of water. Then only you do the waterproofing first, and then you do the screed, because your mother slab will not have the slope, so you need to do some slope. Because if there will be water, rainwater, then it should be channelized through the rainwater outlets. So you need to have some sloping screed, and then you do some this kind of flooring. You concentrate on waterproofing first.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
And
Next question from
that's about
Ritun.
waterproofing for the newly built houses. But what kind of solutions we can do for the old houses, if there is? For old houses, you need to check the waterproofing first. I mean, if there is any waterproofing at all. If there is nothing, then if it is leaking, then there will be cracks probably. So you need to detect those cracks first of all. So after detecting those cracks, you need to repair those cracks. And still it is, and after repairing, you do the ponding test. You need to have some water over the roof, and you see there will be any leakage after that or not. Then be rest assured that there will be no leakage seepage. Then you do the waterproofing.
Okay.
So for old roof, inspection is needed. Proper inspection is needed. So we need to inspect what kind of things. Matlab, I cannot generalize this thing without seeing anything. So there will be many things. So we need to inspect. Generally, our normal practice is we always go to the site, we inspect, and we just try to understand the root, the cause. So then we just do the repairs sort of things. Ramesh asked me how much temperature can this floor will withstand. This temperature, that cementitious materials can withstand the temperatures up 200 degree, up to 200. It's not a problem. And this kind of epoxies can withstand temperature up to 70 degrees centigrade. And polyurethane, this cementitious polyurethane flooring, it can withstand up to 120 degrees centigrade if designed properly.
Okay. So no other questions. Okay. So, madam, thank you.
Thank you so
once again.
much.
So we are concluding the today's session here.
Yes, yes. Thank you so
Okay.
much. I
Thank you
really
once
enjoyed
again.
talking to you and talking to your, talking to my young audience. So I really enjoyed the
Yes.
sessions. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Panda. All stop behaving. You should come with a warning. I have no respect for my teachers. I know more than anyone